Everyone, welcome to this week's Wellness Break Live. I'm going to be interviewing James Happe. He is a mindfulness coach. He is also the voice of our Sheer Bliss XR app. Hi, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Good, thanks. Thanks for being here. So I've been waiting for this moment to do a little intro. So to let everybody know, James is a mindfulness coach. And I first experienced mindfulness with James actually at Splashy Fen. We were sitting out by the water and James just did like a short little meditation with us, and it just stayed with me. It was so impactful. You've got such a soothing voice.
You,
And so needless to say, that's why you were the first person who came to mind when we needed a voice for our Sheer Bliss XR app. So I'll go a little bit more into what the app is about later on in this session. But yeah, James is also a yoga teacher, and as you can imagine, his dialogue also is engaging and soothing, and really just great to have you here. Thanks, James.
Thank you. Feels very. I'm glad to be here. I'm not very good at self-promotion, so it feels a bit. Yeah, I feel a bit like if I'm blushing, just let me know.
It's okay, it's Women's Month. We got you. Don't worry about it. So happy Women's Month to everyone as well.
Yeah.
So I reckon, James, just like talk us through, let our followers know what some of the benefits are of mindfulness. Let's hear it from you.
Okay, so all of the usual things that I'm sure a lot of people have heard of. It helps with down-regulating your nervous system. If you're feeling a bit like spun out, it helps you to be more present, so that you have you actually experience your life rather than kind of being stuck up in your head a lot of the time, which, as we know, isn't really life. It's kind of it's more like the sport commentary, rather than the actual game. Yeah, so there's, it basically increases your appreciation of, for me anyway, of the mundane, of just kind of moment to moment living your life, your connections with people, simple things like eating, walking, even getting ready to go to sleep. Mindfulness can help with that.
Absolutely. I think that that's something that I use a lot. If I'm struggling to sleep, I'll put on a guided meditation or just bring my attention to my breathing and just really focusing on what's happening in my body. And I think that it's like this misconception that people think that mindfulness, that there's a right and a wrong way to do it. What's the best way for people to just start?
Yeah, that's a great point. So, one of the little analogies or, quips that I come up with to try and help people understand how you can't do it wrong is like, you never ask yourself, am I tasting this food incorrectly? Or am I listening to this music right? Is it the right way to be listening to this music? So that's what it is, right? So mindfulness is like, that's you are just doing, you're aware of what you're doing, you're aware of what's taking place. So it sometimes throws people a little bit because it's so simple. They think there must be something else they're supposed to be doing, right? Because it's like so ubiquitous. We're in awareness, we're living in awareness. There's this funny little story about these two fish swimming along, and they're talking about politics and the financial crisis and everything else like that. And then this other kind of slightly older, more switched on fish swims past them and says, "Hey guys, how's the water?" And they don't know what he's talking about, because they live in it. They live in the water. And so awareness really is how all of this is taking place. But because we're in it all the time, if somebody says to you that it's just happening right now, or that you don't really have to do anything, it confuses people a lot, because they need something a little bit more kind of tangible and actionable. It's like, it is the wood. We're in the wood, and sometimes you miss the wood for the trees.
Yeah. Well, I think that meditation like has all these different levels. Like Huberman talks about like, you know, internal meditation and external meditation. So I'm sure that there are different layers, but I guess like just starting with mindfulness is really about this present moment. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct. I think you know you do get formal meditation practice, of course. So the analogy that I draw is that, or the one that I like is that, you know, seated meditation practice is kind of like practicing scales, right? And then mindfulness is playing music, right? So we're not just doing meditation to be meditating all the time. That formal practice helps us to at least learn how to be able to intentionally concentrate our mind on something without becoming so distracted all the time. But once we've got that ability, what do we do with it? How do we apply it? And that's mindfulness. We apply it by being concentrated on just eating that food that you're eating, or just listening to that person. So there isn't a kind of methodology. I'm not saying there isn't a methodology, but you know, sometimes it's like kind of overthought. Yeah.
Sure. Okay. So let me maybe kind of talk through why we brought this into the Sheer Bliss XR app. So for people who don't know, we're kind of going public with it now. We wanted to create something, you know, I really care about wellness in the workplace and people being present in themselves and not living from this place of constant panic and constant stress and just like running in the rat race and carrying on. And so we took virtual reality to the next step, and we wanted to create an app that HR would be able to use to help people. So the app is designed to help people avoid burnout. It's gamified, so you come in and you hear James going, "Welcome to Sheer Bliss," which is just great. I also find that personally, like, I think a masculine voice is quite soothing. I don't know why that is, but even like, I'll prefer male DJs over female DJs, for example. I just find like a lower tone voice as kind of, I don't know, more palatable to me. But we really wanted a South African voice, so we brought James in, and it's such a nice, you know, we called it a mindfulness session because we do want people to just know that it really is about mindfulness. It's not about any esoteric things. It's not out there. It's really easy and practical for anyone, no matter what they're, you know, from a diverse group of people, anyone can participate. So I thought it would be cool if we do like a little sample of what that might be like for people who are at work now. Like if you wanted to take like a 5-minute mental recharge, could you do a little sesh with us?
Sure. I think that's the thing about, sometimes people think that doing a guided meditation somehow is like cheating, but maybe that's what is required to just give you something to focus on and to be present to. You know, when you get better, you can choose anything. It can be, you know, the sound of birds, or even the sound of something annoying, you know, like a generator.
Your morning alarm clock.
Just meditate on it and don't hit the snooze button. But at some point, you have to get up and get the day started.
And that's it, right?
I'll be happy.
Like stress has its place, but it's about not letting it control your life.
Exactly. Yeah, I mean, there's healthy levels of stress stimulus. Without it, you know, we'd be like very understimulated. So
yeah.
I'd be happy to do a quick guided meditation. I think an important thing for me always that I emphasize is that you've got to be comfortable. There's this notion that you have to be sitting in a very uncomfortable position, and you have to kind of be like sitting in lotus position or something else like that. Yeah, exactly. So, you know, completely comfortable, sitting on a nice comfortable chair. If you're sitting like on the ground or whatever, feel free to lean against something so that it doesn't hurt you. But generally, sitting upright in the chair is relatively comfortable for people. You know, your hands can just be resting, you know, on one another in your lap, and just make sure that, you know, the most important thing is just to have a nice upright spine, you know, not too much strain in the neck and shoulders, so that you can sit and breathe and be stable but relaxed at the same time. So if you can get into that kind of position now, that's great.
there?
And sometimes, you know, we're very visual creatures, and the eyes take up a lot of mental bandwidth. So sometimes closing the eyes can definitely help us to kind of focus. And what I like to do, although you can choose anything to focus on, I like to, you know, help. One of the things that really helps me to focus is to focus in on the body sensations. So by closing your eyes, you can tune into those body sensations a little bit. So try that now, sitting comfortably, close your eyes, maybe take a couple of deep inhales and exhales just to allow your body to settle into your seat, into your posture. And you can do that as many times as you need to, especially if you're feeling quite dialed up and you're feeling quite like anxious or stressed out or just, you know, ramped up. So a couple of good deep inhales to lengthen the spine, and then exhales to kind of settle into your seat. And then just allow the mind to be open. And what I mean by that is kind of just noticing whatever it is that you notice initially. So grounding into where you are. Any sounds around you, no sound is better or worse. Any kind of physical sensations that you can tune into, so like how it feels to be in your seat, the weight of your legs, you know, with your head balanced over your shoulders. Can you relax the shoulders a little bit? Notice the breath. So the flow of breath in and out through the nostrils maybe is where you can tune into the breath, or maybe you can feel the breath more easily in your chest, the rise and fall of the chest and shoulders, or maybe you can feel the breath a little bit deeper down in your abdomen, just tuning into that feeling of expansion and contraction, and just allow it to come and go as it needs to. But there's no fixed rhythm that you need to maintain, but try to keep it relatively deep and slow. You know, as the breath is slowed down and deepened, so it helps to downregulate the nervous system, and that also can affect the thought processes and calm us down a little bit more. And then try to become a little bit more aware of some of the mental activity, perhaps. So just noticing some of the thoughts in the mind. Sometimes there's nothing really specific, and you can almost kind of just feel the state of your mind. So does your mind feel at ease? Does it feel frantic, like it's kind of moving around, or there's this kind of buzzing movement? Or perhaps you can notice a particular thought. So maybe there's some kind of commentary that's coming up about the meditation practice. This is interesting. You know, am I doing this correctly, etc. So just noticing these funny little narrative thoughts that kind of come up, and realizing that they are different from your lived experience. So the thoughts that are in your mind are kind of passing through the mind. They come and go, and there's some part of us that can see that happening, right? They can see this thought coming and then the thought passing away. And they can stay present to the physical sensations of breathing in the body. Or maybe you can feel like, see sort of thoughts that are more visual. So maybe a scene playing out, and just notice that they're kind of like dreams, in the sense that they're very incomplete and almost kind of see-through and misty, nebulous, nondescript. Not really too clear unless you're very good at visualizing things, but also not, they're like a movie. They're not a real thing. And notice how they kind of tend to arise, and if you just sit with them for a little while, more than likely they drift off. But there's a part of us that stays there, and we're just trying to rest into that moment, that present moment, or that what's sometimes called meta-awareness or metacognition. So just this space almost of noticing the thought coming up, noticing the thought going away, noticing the physical sensations in the body even change over time, a little bit of a itch here, a little bit of movement there. But it's that witnessing space that we just want to be able to rest in and allow whatever comes up in our awareness to arise, stay there for a little bit, and then naturally pass away. So not interfering, no interference. Another way to put it is to say, sit here and don't try to change anything. And when you're ready, you'll kind of come back to the present moment, open your eyes. Yeah, and that kind of sense of coming back, being grounded, is what we're trying to rest into. You know, we've got to be careful about like making it goal-oriented, but obviously we're doing it for a reason, right?
Yes. And something just as short as that can be really rejuvenating. I mean, I feel a lot calmer now. And as you say, there are thoughts that are passing. There's a lot on my mind. You know, like this is a busy time for us. There's a lot happening. But I think just appreciating that taking 5 minutes to drop your cortisol levels, control your stress, just, as you say, kind of get into the body a little bit and out of the mind and allow those thoughts to come and acknowledge that they're there and they can pass through without dominating my headspace, and that I'm perfectly capable of dealing with each of them individually and I don't have to tackle everything at once. That's what I felt through this little process, which is great.
Right.
So James has also done an incredible, just for all of our followers, an incredible 21-day meditation that he's going to share with us. Incidentally, I followed it through COVID as well. I think all of us went into lockdown with this like, 21 days, I'm going to do a 21-day meditation and this and that, and then it just went on and on. But it really was very soothing to just have that practice, and it's completely doable and it's available to everyone. Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's totally
James.
free. I kind of, funnily enough, I put it all together like about a month or so before COVID and lockdown kind of set in. So it wasn't planned. Wasn't planned for that. It was just fortuitous. It's still up online now. I have taken a little bit of a backseat from the coaching and counseling stuff. I'm quite involved more in kind of family stuff with the kids, and so I'm doing a little bit of yoga on the side now. So if anybody wants to pop into a yoga class, that'd be cool. I teach a single class now Saturday mornings. But that 21-day meditation course is completely free. It's like very manageable little bite-sized chunks, and they just kind of come into your inbox every day, and then you just click and go and do a meditation.
Yeah, they're awesome. Thank you so much for that. So we'll pop the link to that in the comments. We'll also share a link to join James's, it's your yoga website, right? Can they book classes through that link as well?
Yeah, exactly. Sure, they can, and they can sort of drop me an email if they have any questions. And yeah, as I was saying, it's very minimal at the moment. I have one class a week that's open to the public. But yeah, Saturday morning is a nice way to start the weekend. So yeah, please pop in.
Brilliant. And then if anyone is interested in testing out our Sheer Bliss XR app, we'd be more than happy to come and visit you and do a demo. You have to be in one of our headsets to experience it. Awesome. So we'll pop the link for that down below as well. It's so much fun. It's a whole new world. But yeah, thank you so much for today, James. It's been a pleasure having you here, and I hope everybody has a mindful day.
Thanks for having me. It's been awesome to be here, and I'm really always happy to try and share the stuff. It has had a positive impact on my life for sure.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.
Cheers.